Let's welcome each one to say you're welcome to the Chartered Institute of Social Work Practitioners of Nigeria, the Social Work Proficiency Certificate Examination. We call it PIW, that is Professional Examination Workshop. So this is PIW, and this is the final professional examination that qualifies one to become a member of the Institute and also to become a licentiate practitioner of social work in Nigeria. Like I said yesterday, this is the entry point for each and everyone that wants to practice social work in Nigeria and wants to become a true becoming member of the Chartered Institute of Social Work Practitioners of Nigeria, C-ISOWN. So this is one of the courses at the final stage of the examination, which is SWPCE 602. And the course title is Professional Ethics and Accountability. We shall begin launching into this diet through this course, LWPC 602. As you know, for some of us who have passed through the first degree in social work or who have done a postgraduate diploma in social work, or those who have done a master's degrees or who are on their masters in social work, or those who have done their PhD or a DSW in social work, you must have come across often and often this course, right from the first stage of your intro into social work studentship. And you will know that the course is very, very germane to practice, because in every serious profession, there is what we call the ethics of that profession. A profession that does not have ethics is not yet a profession. A profession that does not have values is not yet a profession. A profession that does not have principles is not yet a profession. So I think in degree courses, we call it principles, values, and ethics of social work. But we are looking at this level at professional ethics and accountability. Most of what we'll be talking about will be gearing towards what our practice allows us or do not allow us to do, where our practice allows us to or not to reach. We want to see our limits in the where we practice our profession. I want to see what makes the profession a profession and what makes ethics to be something that we need to imbibe on. In the past, prior to the signing of the act into law, everybody just practice social work the way he likes, the way he knows. And then whatever you do, you go scot-free with it. During my days in practice as well, I experienced so many desk officers in social work. We call them desk officers, those who are not members of the institute and who are not licensed to practice, are just ordinary desk officers. And that was what all of us had been prior to 2022, when the law now backs our practice to say that social work is now a profession in Nigeria. It was the first time in 2022 when the then president, Muhammadu Buhari, signed the first act for social work profession into law. That day, August 2022, became the first day that social work exists as a profession in Nigeria. And because of that, a certain level of decorum is required. A certain level of dignity is required. A certain level of intimacy is required. A certain level of coordination is required. A certain level of integrity is required. A certain level of love and passion is also required. A certain level of emotions is required. And all these things put together makes a person to fit into practice. I mentioned in passing yesterday during the orientation meeting, that gone are the days when you do something that is unbecoming of a professional or a practitioner, and then you go scot-free. Because now that the law is in place, you see, so many things will have to be reckoned with. And we as social workers also have to reckon with the law. So we need to know what guides us, what makes us who we are as practitioners. That is why you saw early this morning, we posted we posted again the gazetted law for social work in Nigeria. We also posted other laws guiding other aspects of the practice of social work, or aspects, because social work is a member of a multidisciplinary team. Like I said, social work is like jack of all trades and master of all. I need to tell people like that because a social worker must be vast and versatile. A social worker must be able to know bits and bits and bits and bits of many things. That is why social workers in housing, social workers in medicine, social workers in public health, social workers in industries, social workers so we have social workers all around. Wherever we have human being is a field of social work, except if it is not social human being that is there. Where anything that has life needs social work. Animals also need social workers. You see, even the trees in the forest needs social workers. That is why you see that you have that advocacy to ensure that the animals we have in the forest are not totally do not totally go into extinction. Some must be preserved to give life and continue life, because they are needed for our living. We are also needed for their living. The trees of the forest are needed. That's why you have environmental social work. We have forensic social work. What do they call these people who are into animals? Doctors of animals. I've forgotten their name. If I remember, I'll tell us. So we have social workers.
Veterinary doctors.
Veterinary
doctors.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much. We have veterinary social workers as well. So social work is very vast. And what brings us together as social workers is this issue of ethics, principles and values of social work, and the accountability of it. And also, we have general ethics and principles, and then we have specific ethics and principles, which which could be seen in agencies, because in some agencies where social workers practice are different from each other. Social workers practicing in the medical field may be different from those who are in veterinary field, may be different from those who are in forensic, may be different from those who are in industry, and on, or different from those who are in ministries, departments, and agencies. So and on like that. They may have their own specific principles, ethics, and practice, which those who are working within that agency, ministry or department must also learn to know and cooperate and ensure that their life makes meaning to their practice, and their practice rub off on them, and they rub off on their practice to ensure that the service users get the best of services required at every point in time. This necessitated the fact that this course, as I'm looking at it, is very, very important to every social worker who must practice within a nation. It is not different from what we have all over the world. Whatsoever is applicable here as ethics is also applicable in America, Australia, Canada, and things like that. The only difference there is the culture. And I believe that at the foundation classes, whether at the degree level or at the professional level, which is the intermediate professional examination, you must have come across the rudiments of ethics and the like, which a person must imbibe, and which a person must also swear to before you can practice. And that is one of our ritual during induction ceremony. You swear, standing before a legal luminary and raising your hand to swear to an oath to abide with the ethics, principles, and value of the social work practice. This is what makes a practice or a practitioner different from those who are quacks, or different from those who are philanthropic practitioners, or those who just love, because you have heard people say, oh, we are all social workers, we do social work. Even our parents, they do social work. They say they do social work. There's common sense social work. There's social work by laymen, social work by people who just want to do good to others. And you see, because social work is also doing good to others, but social work and the professional social worker are different from this group of people, because it means, because they have to not just go into school to acquire knowledge for it, they also go through professional practice and licensing before they can practice. This sets social workers apart, because others will not have licensing, they may not have a professional body, but they practice one thing or the other. And prior to 2022, this is all that took place. And now the difference is clear, even though the institute has been on this for the past 15 years, when we have been training people, making sure they become members of the professional body, and also licensing people who want to practice social work. This is about our 15th year. So because of that, we will need to take this course very serious, and I believe that together, as we sail, we'll have a wonderful time together. Okay, we're going to start. I've posted the lecture slides or lecture material on the platform. I believe each and everyone have been able to open it. If you have opened it, or if you have not opened it, just find time to open it, and also make sure you also read ahead of the class when we come to explain things, to talk, and then at each of our lecture times together, I'll be giving the last 20 or 30 minutes for discussions in the class. For those who need clarification, for those who needs to repent, and for those who need to make comments, and for those who needs to contribute, will have their time, the last 20, 30 minutes shall be for them. Thank you very much for being part of this class. I can see only 46 people out of 109 in the class. This is a low number, and I trust my IT that is taking attendance of those who attend each class. Like I said yesterday, is going to be part of our continuous assessment. So CA is not free. Okay, I think we can start now. Let's look at the overview of what the course is. We want to start by looking at who social workers are. We have been practicing whatever, however, and now we are coming into social work practice proper and to be licensed. Who are these people? Who wants to be social workers? Who are these people? Who are social workers? Who are to practice? Who are they? At the 2018 International Conference of the Institute of Social Work of Nigeria, this definition of who social workers are came up. And from then, we have been looking at it, and we have been sharing ideas along who social workers are. And according to that definition of who social workers are, we said at that conference that social workers are professionals. We have laid the foundation of that they are professionals. They are trained specifically in social work disciplines to build partnership among other professionals working within the field of psychosocial intervention, caregivers and families, collaborating with the community, usually with the goal of creating supportive environment for clients or service users, advocating for adequate services, treatment models and resources, changing social policy to address issues of poverty, employment, housing, and social justice, and supporting the development of preventive programs for the less privileged. Social workers focus on early intervention, treatments, and post-treatment with individuals. Access to services, resources, and information. You will discover that this definition of who social workers are is quite loaded because there are many ingredients inside it that we need to look at and to confirm that social work is actually vast and social work is actually deep. Social work is actually wide. You know, sometimes when you meet people and they say, social worker is it's an easy course. They want to go in for social work because it's an easy course. I tell you, you're deceiving yourself because social work is never an easy work. Anything that has to do with human being can never be easy because social workers work with human beings, not just human beings, work with other things that have life and want to ensure that the human being that have life live a certain kind of life and is in a certain kind of mind condition that can make him to work optimally within himself, within his family, within the society. Social work seeks for a balanced person who works within an environment, who works within a community, who works within a group, and who works with individuals to ensure that the well-being of that person, the well-being of that community, the well-being of that group is advanced and is what it ought to be. So because of that, social workers do not work alone. I said earlier that social workers are a member of a multidisciplinary team. A social worker can never work alone, whether internally or externally. Internally, I mean among other specializations of social work, and externally with other professions or professionals like medicine, like teachers, like lawyers, and like that. Social worker connects every other professions, and that is why a social worker is in a vantage position and is a leader of all the other team members. Why? Because he knows bit and bit of what they have to do and how he comes in or she comes in into uh, helping a service user get the best of treatment or the best of service or the best of uh, program or the best of information needed for his progression, needed for his well-being, needed for his welfare, needed for his health, needed for his social justice, needed for his human relationship and things like that, or needed for even the relationship between him and the pet that he keeps in the home. So it is very vast and dynamic. So that is what we look at as who social workers are, what they do, and what makes them a social worker. Then, according to the International Federation of Social Workers and the International Association of Schools of Social Work, they said social work profession facilitates social change and development, social cohesion, and the empowerment and liberation of people. The principle of social justice, human rights, collective responsibilities, and respect for diversities are central to social work, underpinned by theories of social work, social sciences, humanities, and indigenous knowledge. Social work engages people and structures to address life challenges and enhance well-being. I said earlier in the intro that the only thing that makes us different from other countries or other communities that we have not been to or that you need to be or you are posted to work is the culture. The culture of the people in the north may be different from the people in the east and from the people in the west, from the people in Australia and from the people in England or from the people in Ireland. The culture differs, and a social worker must be culturally balanced or culturally competent. So cultural competence is one of the ethics of social work. That is, I'm tempted to go back to the degree class, but I will not go there because these are things that ought to have been taught in the degree class. But then we cannot do without falling back there, mentioning and bringing up some things from there. So cultural competence is part of social work, and in the midst of that, there you see social principle of social justice, and that is why we are saying that social work must be practiced in the domain of the culture that we find ourselves. So that is why we are looking at indigenous social work practice these days. When we talk about Ubuntu, we are talking about indigenous practice. It is not just Ubuntu, because that Ubuntu may be alien to us because as Nigerians we don't know Ubuntu. But in our local dialect, we know each one of us, whether in the north, south, east, and western south, we know what Ubuntu is. Is togetherness. Because you are, I am. Because I am, you are. And all that, the principle of collectivity, the principle of that binds us together, and the principle that makes us to look for the good and the welfare of those who are with us and who are around us. So indigenous knowledge of social work is now the in thing all over the world, and we cannot be separate. And in fact, that is what we as practitioners should also, so we need our native wisdom in practice as well. So because of that, you look at the principle of social justice, human rights, collective responsibilities, and respect for diversity, which are central. Even though you are practicing within a territory or within a community, it is not all the people in that community that belong to that community, because some are strangers, sojourners, and things like that, and they live in a different culture and things like that. Because of that, a social worker cannot be biased. You must be able to treat everyone according to their own, according to who they are, so that justice, fairness, and accountability can be, and objectivity can be what goes through in practice. So social work professional ethics and accountability therefore refers to the ethical and legal responsibilities that social workers have to ensure they adhere to in their professional standards and guidelines while carrying out their practice. I want to repeat that. Having seen what the overview of what we are trying to lay foundation of, we now said social work professional ethics and accountability therefore refers to the ethical and legal responsibility. You can underline that on your on your soft copy, on your hard copy if you have one. It refers to the ethical and legal responsibility, whether it is meta ethics, whether it's ethics of human behavior, whether it is the ethics of community behavior or national behavior or an agency behavior. So the ethics must be sound in us and must be reflective through us. And the legal responsibility of all this must always be ahead of us, or must always be with us. We must be conscious of the legal responsibility of our practice. That is why the first interface we gave out is the Gazette of the Chartered Institute. You will see there that there is the judicial aspect of the law that was signed to, and that act is with that act is in Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has a copy of that law, and the disciplinary committee or team of the institute is tend to be a high court, because whatever is affirmed and upheld there will be upheld in the high court of law. So because of that, we need to be conscious of the legal responsibility of our practice, so that social workers have to ensure that we adhere strictly to the professional standards and guidelines while carrying out our practice. Because the ethics and accountability of social work involves being answerable to one's action. A social worker is answerable to his actions. A social worker is answerable to his decision and responsible within the scope of social work practice. I hope we understand what we are talking about in this instance. So
yes,
that is an overview of who a social worker is and what they ethics and accountability is. We have said you must be mindful of yourself, be mindful of your practice, and be mindful of who you are and what you also do with your service users or clients, and then be able to also stand firm and stand straight, making sure that in protecting yourself, you are protecting your service users. In protecting your service users, you are protecting, or in giving out the best practice that give the best outcome to your service user, you are protecting yourself. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Some people are asking questions at this stage. Please don't ask questions now.
Yes, sir.
So what are the professionalism of social work? What's the meaning of that? Okay. Are we together?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
yes, sir. We are with you, sir.
We are
We are
with
with
you,
you, sir.
100%.
Yes, sir. We are
Yes,
with you,
sir. We
sir.
are with you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So what is a profession? We are moving forward. What is a profession? We said a profession as a vocation requiring advanced education and training. A profession needs or requires advanced education and training. To have a profession, that is why you cannot be somebody who have just passed through secondary school and say you want to become a social worker. Be a social worker. Or somebody who says, I have a first degree and say, I'm a social worker. No. What we are saying is there are two things. There is training and there is advanced training. For those who have finished their first degree in social work, they are at the level of generalist practitioners. Or those who have HND social development, they are at the level of generalist practitioners. They are not specialists. For you to be a specialist, you must have at least a master's degree, master's or an MSW, PhD in social work, or a doctor of social work, DSW. And that is when you are a professional, a full-fledged professional. You must have gone to school to study for 4 or 5 years. Then you must follow on to ensure that you become a specialist. So that is why we said in a profession there are categories of people who are within that practice. They are segmented according to the training or education they have acquired. A social worker must have gone to a higher institution and must have been able to pass out and then be able to acquire professional education, which is what we are having now. There is the academic education, there is the professional education. In fact, for there to be a profession, there must be 3 legs. A profession is always a tripod. Like I normally say, every serious profession has a tripod. One, the first leg of the tripod is studentship. The second leg of the tripod is the practice. That is the academics. Sorry, that is the academics. Then the third leg is the practice. So we have studentship, academics, practice. Studentship as in those who have gone to school to study. Academics, as in those who are in the higher institutions teaching. That's how you have Association of Social Work Educators of Nigeria, and we have also schools of social work, or Association of Schools of Social Work. That is the second leg of a profession. Then we have the third leg of the profession, which is the practice. And within that practice is the licensing. So all these three levels talk about studentship, academics, learning of theories and teaching of theories and things like that. When you come into the transforming those theories into models and perspectives. So the three legs must always be intact and they work hand in hand. One passes to the other passes to the other to give a full-fledged professionals through acquisition of education, through action of training. So therefore, a profession is a job that requires specific training and is regulated by certain standards. So like I said, 2022 started with having in Nigeria the profession of social work. If you go on our website, you will see the social work standards is there. Just take time and go to our website, www.C-ISOWN.org. You will see it there at the introduction level. You see what the standard of social work that we practice is, and we have to abide with in Nigeria as we speak. Even though a pamphlet will still need to go out to MDAs and to each one of us that are practicing, but at least each one can have access to what the standard of social work is in practice. Our IT can give us on our platform a direct link to that standard so that each one can go there and look at what the standards for the social work practice is, because that is what regulates us as social workers in Nigeria. And according to Roscoe Pound, he defined profession as a group pursuing a learned art as a common calling in the spirit of public service. So is what? A group pursuing learned art as a common calling in the spirit of public service. We serve the public. That is why, like I said, it's a community of practice. It's a group of practitioners coming together to offer services and ensuring that each one become what they ought to be as good citizens of a family, a community, a group, a nation, and to the world at large. So for a person to assume this role, it is expected that that person has a certain level of passion. Is not looking for money, even though money attracts passion, or passion attracts money, wherever the issue is. And because we said social workers are not philanthropists, even though you are not philanthropists, but you have to do a bit of philanthropy in or within your social work practice. Sometimes because we see there's always community service, and the likes. And if you can lay your hands on one of our journals, I have an article there that talks about philanthropy, differentiating philanthropists and social workers. If you can lay your hands on, I don't know whether it's volume 6 or volume 7 of the Professional Social Work Journal. So if you can lay your hands on that, you can go through that. It will bring a certain clarification between philanthropism and social work or social work practice or social workers. So who are professionals? Let's move ahead. Who are professionals? We said they are experts with expert power. You know, social workers are very powerful. Those who are professionals are also very powerful. And at times, it could also be delicate because there's a thin line between a person going overboard and a person also crossing barriers. So because of that, we say social workers, sometimes people see us as kings, but actually we are not kings. The service users are actually the kings, even though they look at us as kings. And some say, oh, in fact, you are like God. And things like that. Yeah, they are the ones who are kings. They are the ones who are queens. Why? Because there's little that we do. We only learn, we have learned, we have mastered some theories and models to help them or assist them in whatsoever challenges they pass through. And when there are better or wonderful outcomes, going by our suggestions to them, actually it is what they have. They have all those things. It is just what they have that we look at and work around what they have, and we give it back to them. And then they look at it and we ask them make an option, and we advise them on each of the options as how it will be effective for them. And they choose an option, and we work with them through the options, and then we have better outcomes. They become happy, joyful, and everything is good. Everything starts going on well for them, and their well-being are turned around, and they are joyful. So they see us as those who are like God, who are kings. They are the kings. Why? They are the one that give the solution to their own challenges. So because of that, professionals are people who harmonize knowledge and wisdom. We have talked about in the introduction about wisdom, that it is not just wisdom, because wisdom without knowledge can bring chaos. So, but for a person who have gone to school, a person who have been able to learn about his profession and the kind of intervention that he gives to his clients, if you have learned it, then the native knowledge, God's wisdom, the wisdom that you have as a person, will always be able to make you different, or to make you separate from others who don't have the certain degree of knowledge that you may have. So, as social workers, we must be able to sharpen our knowledge and sharpen our wisdom. So, professionals are those who have been able to sharpen their own knowledge, sharpening their own wisdom, and apply wisdom to his or her knowledge. Then we said professionals are also those who use their expertise responsibly. They are people who have integrity. Mark that word. As social workers, we have nothing less than integrity. We must have nothing less than integrity. Integrity is one of the hallmarks of social workers or the social work practice. And because of that, we dare not jeopardize our life with lack of integrity. So professionals are those who form integrity. And how do we get people who have integrity? It is first from what we have discussed up there. We have talked about those who have expert power, those who have knowledge, and those who have truth. I think I must say at this junction that truth is one of the hallmark of social workers. Truth is one of the hallmark of social workers. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? I think that's part of the four-way test of the Rotary Club. is talking about integrity. It's talking about those who want to do good for others and who must be fair to others and who must say, this is this. 5 o'clock is 5 o'clock. 10 o'clock is 10 o'clock. White is white. Black is black. Not painting white to be blue. Or not painting white to be of milk color. Not, we have shades of color now. I'm not a good person with color anyway. But then, I was just, what it is, I'll just say blue. They said, no, it's not blue, it's sky blue. It's something blue. Something blue. Women knows colors better than us men. But then, a person of integrity must be able to work with a service user with one mind, one life. He must not be somebody who gives a solution today and the solution does not work and want to stand on it, seeing that it's not working. Who is afraid or who is ashamed to say, hey, a whole mighty man, a whole mighty social worker, you cannot change. A social worker must be flexible. And that's part of integrity. When a social knows that, when a service user knows that, oh, this person, if I tell him this, how I feel or what is going on with me, then he will be able to sit down with me and talk and even share his own experience. I'm not saying that social workers should share their own life experience, but where necessary. And we don't lie to our clients. We don't take advantage of our clients. I've worked in places where you see somebody's mic is on, please. Can that person mute his mic? Who is using Infinix Smart 6? Can Bolale mute a mic? And the person using Infinix Smart 6, can you please name your device? We don't allow people using the name of their phone on the platform. Please change Infinix Smart 6 to your name. We beg you so that we can identify you as a member of the class.
Okay, sir.
Thank you very much. So, Bolale, please also mute your mic. Thank you very much. So, like I said, integrity is one of the hallmarks. So, professionals are also marked by correctness. We try as much as possible to be correct. How can we get this correctness? A social worker must be sharp in his theories. He must be sharp in his use of models, because those are the tools that we use at helping our clients or service users. So social professionals are marked by correctness. And how does correctness also come? I give an instance that this person is distracting me. Somebody using iPhone, name your device and mute your mic. Somebody else also using Infinix Smart X, please name your device and mute your mic. Bolale, you are not mute. Your mic is still on. Oh. It's like the person is not even listening to the word we are saying. He just join the class and doing whatever he likes. IT, help me to mark that person, please. How can you be in class and you are not even attentive to what we are saying? It's not right. IT, please, if you can mute that person, it will be fine, please. Okay. Okay, now I was talking about correctness. That's what we call triage principle, and that is what brings correctness in practice. By triage principle, the medical professionals also they use it extensively, and also in social work we use triage extensively. If you know what triage means that it's about uniformity and uniformity in correctness and dispensing services to our service users. In medical practice, it is their patient. That is what gives correctness in their medical practice. But triage in social work practice give correctness to our service users. By triage, we mean that when a person is clerked and having some challenges or difficulties or problems, a person we have a protocol, a written protocol which we must put in our brain, because you don't see doctors opening a book and triaging you to get solution, except at a very difficult situation when this presenting sickness is a new one or a strange one. They go and then consult. They also do conferencing as well. So social workers also have conferencing. So these are things that brings about correctness. So by triage, you mean that there is certain
Please tell this Bolanle to
questions
stop.
that are asked service users that we are working with, and that also those questions have answers. Like somebody, let me use what we know vividly, the medical practice. At one point or the other, we have gone to hospitals to consult with doctors, not so. So when you get to the office, a consulting room of a doctor, he will ask you, when you tell them, oh, I've been having headache for the past 3 days, he will ask you, what did you eat? What have you been eating? For how many days have you been experiencing it? Do you normally sweat? Do you normally have this headache in the morning or afternoon or night? So he will ask you all those questions. Those questions is what we call triaging. Is triaging to know what the issues are. It is trying to diagnose. It's trying to diagnose you in relation to what you said is happening to you, and then at the end of it, you say, oh, if this and so thing happened to a person, now it means that the person actually have malaria or have typhoid or have migraine. So based from the question and your answer, it will be correct to say, oh, you have malaria, or you have typhoid fever, or you have migraine. And it will not stop from there. You will say, okay, let's do a confirmation. Go to medical lab. You know, it is still the same medical practice, but you have led a medical doctor to a lab scientist. The lab scientist will do his own and find out what the issues are in the blood or whatever in the person. Then the person will go back to the medical doctor. He will look at it and synchronize it with what he had said previously, and then come to a more confirmation of if actually what the issues are, and then be able to prescribe what the person could use. And at that point, it will be because, are you allergic to this? Are you allergic to that? Are you allergic? He will be asking you questions so that he will know the kind of treatment he will give to you. And at the end of the day, he will give it to you. You will go to the pharmacist, that's the third professional, and all these things like that. But when you come back and say, oh, this thing did not go, and of course you know that it is not all sickness that are medical. Many of those sicknesses are psychosocial, and that is why we are a social worker comes in. Is an expert in psychosocial. Why? Because it will look at different kind of things around that service user to be sure that some of the things that he has been explaining is negating some aspects, or is not noticing or doing some things right in some areas of his life or environment. So at the end of the day, a social worker works with the person and also look at what a person could do, and then tell him, refer back to the doctor, this, and that is what the issues are. It may be with his parents, it may be with her husband, it may be with his wife, it may be with his job, it may be with the kind of environment he or she lives in. These are the social workers' area of expertise that will critically touch light into and get. So you see now, that is the fourth professional within among the multidisciplinary team that I said previously. So all this triage comes into place. So the same thing with social workers. Social workers also comes to triage a person. Oh, my husband always beat me. Now you have to triage to see why. Or you saw a person who has injury on one left of the hand, and another place is bleeding. I say, oh, it's my husband who did this to me. Then you want to triage and see what actually have happened. You will not take his word at face value. You must be evidence-based practitioner. So you want to get to the root of it and get the evidences of the fact that it was actually the husband who did that. You must triage to get correctness. That is why social work is not a guess work. Social work is scientific. Are we together?
Honestly, I'm not doing it. But
Yes,
that noise of that, but we are together, sir.
yeah, you too. Okay,
So I said social work is what?
We too, sir.
This person is disturbing a baby. Social work is what? Is scientific. So, because of that, we can come to a position where we actually have correct practice, being correct in our practice, then delivering aptitude for so by aptitude. A person. Hello. Sit down, man. Tell her to come. So a person who has a professional who has aptitude for professional result connotes that he has a kind of knowledge, a kind of ability, a kind of God's innate provision of capacity to deliver results in whatsoever he does. So a social worker or a professional is a person who has knowledge, who have aptitude, who have a certain level of idea, and they are there a level of knowledge backed by training to deliver results to is or are service user. And then a professional also is a person who have the culture of performance, development, reform, and reform. A professional is also a person who has capacity to network, who synergize with others. I've explained whether it is internal synergy or external synergy. By internal synergy, we mean that among the specialization of social work practice. And that is why we talk about the community of practice. Somebody who is a professional in social welfare, or a person who is a school social worker, a person who is a community social work practitioner, a person who is an industrial social work practitioner, we must be able to work among ourselves and be able to know where our strength lies and where our specialization also lies, so that as we also work, we will be able to see, oh, this case now should be moved to somebody in the legal aspect of social work, or this case should move to forensic, this case should move to this. So a case does not start with a social worker and end with a social worker. I've given an example of triage principle that social workers also use. A medical doctor will not, because, oh, this is now my patient, I will now, from beginning to the end, it has to be with me. No, he will do his own and send to medical lab. Medical lab will do his own, may probably come back to the medical doctor, and then also go back to the physiotherapy. Physiotherapy will do his own, and then he may then go back to the pharmacist. So you are working together internally or externally. It is only a quack that starts a work or starts an intervention and ends it on his own. He starts from the table and ends in his table. That is not ethical practice. So a professional that there are other professionals who has work to do in this patient or in this service user or in this case. Sometimes we also do what? We do conferencing, or sometimes we refer a matter came to a social worker in the hospital, will do his work within the ambient of the hospital, and then at the end of the day, that client is going to a community. Then what is the role of a community social worker? He must be able to select the one in the medical practice, must be able to synergize with social community practice, the rural setting, because we also have rural social workers. Or social workers. So you have to, a professional is one who networks, who synergizes, and who work amongst other professionals internally or externally.
Please, can IT help us move this Poland?
Honestly, if the IT is not doing it, that means they don't have control of the server now. I'm not even hearing any single thing, to be honest.
This Poland is stopping us.
I'm not hearing anything on this lecture. They should remove the guy now.
Help me note these people that are causing this chaos.
You can call this line now.
So, okay. I don't know if you should stop.
Phone number. What is phone number?
I think the IT should remove this
This
person.
disturbance
Not
is getting too much.
you don't be disrupting your.
Please remove this Bolanle for Christ's sake. Remove the Bolanle. Oh, this person should try and mute his or her mic. The noise is too much.
Mute everybody. It's only when you want to speak, you allow us to speak, then you unmute us. IT mute everybody.
Exactly. The host can actually mute everybody from his end.
Okay, I think everybody has been mute.
The host can actually mute everybody from his end.
Somebody don't.
The host can actually mute everybody from.
Okay, let's just go to the next slide. We talk about professional ethics. So let's move. Now everywhere is quiet now. Let's move to this Bolanle again. I think we need to end this class here. Yeah, she has muted it. She has unmuted again. Those who are in Bolale's group, please warn her. Thank you, IT. You are back. Please, somebody, can you mute?
Sir. Why not the admin? The admin should remove her.
IT mute everybody. When the lecturer wants us to ask questions, you mute everybody.
Maybe she did not know how to use the phone. That's the problem.
We have been trying to mute her. We will mute everybody and she will still open it. She will still unmute herself. Look at it now. Even
Maybe she did not know how to use it.
professional ethics is a vocation. Okay. I think
Our number. One of us
we gave this warning at the orientation yesterday. These are the kind of things that we don't like as a would-be professional. Because we talked about this yesterday at the orientation, and I think that these are the first lecture for this diet is happening. I want you to go back to your groups, talk to yourself, warn yourself, because a person like this can lose this diet. You can remove it entirely from this diet. It is unprofessional. To even talk about the fact that we muted her and she keeps unmuting herself and disturbing. No, it's not funny.
You may not even know that it is.
Okay, the next time we meet, we'll be starting from professional ethics, and then we go to basic principles and components of ethics. Then we also will look at the meaning of the code of ethics. Now that you have your materials, you'll be able to at least read ahead of the class and then see how fast we could move at the next meeting.
Yeah, we are very sorry for that, sir.
We are sorry, sir.
Please, let's just wrap up the class. Let's wrap up the class. Okay, we'll meet again on Friday. By then, we'll have gather all that is needed and put our hearts together to cooperate with one another. And please, like I said, this Bolanle, I will look for the group. If you are in his or if you are in a group, please talk to her, warn her. This should not happen again. This is a matured class. It's a class of people who have masters, who are degree holders, who have DSW, and who are even directors and the likes. So she should maintain decorum at a level like this. That goes for everybody as well.
Yes, sir.
So please, we'll meet again on Friday. Tomorrow, you're having two classes. Ensure that you talk to her that this does not happen tomorrow. And I will also be in those classes to see if she will still behave this way. Remove her entirely from the diet. Thank you very much for making it a time with us. Do have a blissful weekend. Okay, Rose,
You too,
Olusha,
sir.
Rose,
Thank
you
you.
are raising your hand.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Goodbye, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Really appreciate you, sir.
Queen
Okay.
Agudumoyo, the one with 50 smart skills.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you,
Thank you
sir.
very much. Thank you, sir.
Nice.
God bless you, sir. Thank you, sir.
You are grateful.